Hello everybody and welcome to DC Fine Art. Today we're going to be trying out the Holbein color pencils and using them with our Derwent Inktense blocks. Now I have never tried this before, but whenever I used these the last time, I think it was on our 4th of July little special where we were doing a 1-point perspective birdhouse. I took these out and started using them, and I was like, you know what? I really do believe that these would go good with the Derwent Inktense blocks. Now, I wouldn't use, this is me personally, I probably wouldn't use any of my other color pencils on top of the Derwent Inktense blocks just because of the way it feels. My pencils, or at least those pencils, are a little bit of a different core, and whenever you use it on top, it kind of has this weird kind of feel with the Inktense, depending on how much you layer too. Kind of feels a little different, and some of your pencils may not even show up on your Derwent Inktense blocks. Now these pencils here, I'm thinking because of whatever they're made up of, good luck with that one, but they feel really different. They're even softer, so I'm actually thinking that these will layer on top of the Derwent Inktense blocks with no problem, but we are definitely going to be finding out. Now, I wouldn't use, now this is another me personally, because these are just a breed of their own on the type of pencils they are. So I have never really used them with my other color pencils because they just won't work well together. It's almost like they're cousins, you know, and I don't know. Maybe I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I even said cousins. I mean, everybody might like their cousins, so, but I'm just saying that they don't have fun with those. So, that came out wrong too. Since these pencils are like a breed of their own, I don't really use them all that much because they just don't, to me personally, I just don't like using them with my other color pencils. It feels like they just don't work good together. They almost seem to either work like you just want to use them by themselves, or I actually think that these would be really good to go on top of your Derwent Inktense. And I wouldn't really use my other color pencils on top of the Derwent Inktense just because it just feels really weird when trying to layer or put anything on top of it with the color, like a regular color pencil. It just feels really kind of like there's a buildup underneath, and you could even have some problems with your color pencils not showing up on top of your Derwent, Inktense blocks. So you could have that issue too, depending on how much you layer. But I'm really thinking these Holbein, since they are a little bit more of a softer, I want to say these are almost like, I don't want to say it completely, but it almost feels like a hard oil pastel or something. I mean, I don't know what these are, but they're definitely a different type of makeup of core. But I think it might be perfect for this this mixed media mix. So I'm going to go ahead, turn this around, and what I've done is I went ahead and put a base layer down using my Derwent Inktense blocks and created this cactus. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go on top of it using the Holbein color pencils. So let's go ahead, get through this speed painting so you can see that base layer that I'm laying down, and let's get to our little test to see if these Holbeins really work good on top of this or not. All right, so here I am just putting down some of this Inktense here. I did erase some of the little lines, but not as much. Kind of looking back at it now, I kind of wish I would have erased a lot more of the lines. But here I am just putting in some of the yellow. I'm just doing a light coat. I'm not laying it on really thick or anything. Now, if there was some areas that I want to be a little bit darker, I could go in and just make them a little bit darker just by using some of the darker greens. I'm using a lighter green for like the right side. On the left side, it's going to be a little bit darker, depending on where your sunlight is. Now, I did make sure that I had enough water that I spritzed either on my Inktense blocks, that way they were already wet, and then dipped my brush in the water. So I added a little bit of water to it already. I don't want to get too much water on the paper because I was a little bit afraid of any buckling, because this is not a watercolor paper, it is a mixed media paper. All right, so here we go. Here is our base layer on our cactus, but also I wanted to share with you, I am using the toned blue mixed media paper, and this here is by Strathmore. It is a 6" by 8" 184-pound paper. It is nice and smooth, but I do have to say this is one of the papers I did receive in a powerful pack box. But this paper, just to let you guys know, even though it does say blue, it just looks green to me. It does not look blue like here. And I can give you kind of an idea what blue looks like. There's blue. And even if you went with like a sea, like turquoise kind of blue, it just looks, here's like a normal kind of cobalt blue. Yeah, cobalt blue. But that just looks more green. And I can show you this here, like green. Probably the wrong type of green to shine on here. But there's like green. It just looks green to me. But anyways, enough said. We're going to go ahead and try out these Holbein pencils. Let me get seated real quick. You know what? I didn't sharpen any of my yellows. And excuse the train. We have a train coming in and it definitely is kind of loud. So I do apologize ahead of time. Let me go ahead and sharpen these pencils real quick before we get started. So that way I'm not doing that in front of you guys. So just hold on once. It'll just be a second for you guys. All right, so I am back with these sharpened yellow pencils. I think I sharpened all the rest of the pencils that I might have to use, but let's go ahead and do some of these yellows. So let me take some of my, let's see here. I don't even know what this is. And a lot of these pencils, as you can see, it's like a little sticker that's on here. That's because I bought these open stock, each and every individual pencil. I was really hoping to pick anything with a higher Lightfast rating, 1 being the least, then it goes 2 and 3 being the highest. So I tried to pick things that were between 2 and 3 star to give me the highest rating, but then I found out after I got them that quite possibly these star ratings might not even be accurate. So that's the reason why I haven't really been using them too that much, is because the accuracy on these, even if they did come out with a star rating on these, just to let you know which ones are Lightfast. I think there was somebody who I even listened to that said that they still went back and showed that it still wasn't legit, but I'm not for sure. So therefore, I don't know. They're just a big question. But if these go really, really well with the Inktense, I mean, I think these will be a perfect match. So I may have a use for these. We'll just see. So this one here is more of a mid-tone kind of yellow. If it doesn't go good on top of these, then we will definitely be finding out on this video. Looks like that. Someone's made my pencil mark kind of stand out even more. It's kind of weird. It just feels weird still. I don't know. Let me go with a lighter color. Oh. See, it's a softer lead, so you don't even have to do much. I mean, it is coming out on top, so I mean, it is still layering. And oh, these pencils are so soft. Like literally the core is so soft. Like it's softer than the Derwent Lightfast. Which is why I really thought that these pencils, considering how soft they are, that they actually would go on top of these. At least the Inktense. Paper is just slightly bubbled just a little bit. I did spritz it with water, and I used quite a bit of water, so it is just a little bit bowed in the top area up here. Not so much the paper itself, just a little bit. It's So let's put some light area in here. I mean, it is showing up at a lot of places. I did put this on kind of thin. The yellows are really translucent looking. I don't know if I really care for that. There's more of an orangey, that's more of the orangey tone. So definitely if you are working with this and you want to try these out, I would definitely say make sure your pencil mark or your pencil is completely erased, like really, really well. Because it seems to me like it just intensifies the pencil. Let me take my, this is my Derwent or my Faber-Castell Perfection Eraser, and usually I can erase down through. I don't know if I can erase through the Inktense, but maybe, I don't know. The outside, this one was on the outside part. I didn't really put that much of the Inktense on there, so. But yeah, if you are using the yellow, definitely do that because, or erase, you know, your pencil marks, because this yellow just seems really translucent. This one here is a cream and it seems to be coming out okay. Seems to be covering very well. Let's go ahead and just make that down here. Yeah, it's like I can't make it really bright yellow with the Holbein pencils. I don't know if I really care for these pencils very much, as long as, I mean, as far as the yellow. The yellow just doesn't like me very much. Here, let's try another way. Let's take a white, that's warm gray. Where's my white? Do I have a white? I should have a white. That seriously is a warm gray. That one's black. I do not see a white. I know I had a white. I just don't know if I took it and used it for something somewhere and didn't put it back. Knowing me, that's probably what I did. All right, so we'll, since I don't have the white with me, I don't know where I would have put it. I'm like, here, I'll just take it. I know I took it for something. We're gonna use this warm gray. It is really, really light. I'm gonna try doing this. Well, that covered that up. Okay, so let's put this in here. Of course, it's gonna seem a whole lot lighter. We don't have to cover up all the yellow, by the way. I just wanna see if we can make it not as translucent and the yellow kind of shine a little bit brighter. And that helps it. Okay, so there's a will, there's a way. Use your white. If you need to make something bright with your yellow, use your white first, then use the yellow on top of the white. That'll make it show up. So like if I wanted this really super bright, and this is a warm gray, number 1. It's really light, but it's still light enough. Just use your warm gray, then take your yellow and go on top of it, and then your yellow is a whole lot brighter. All right, that is definitely nice to know. Like I said, I didn't really work too much with these. because they were not friends with my other color pencils. Okay. I'm going to work my way on down to, I'm going to end up working my way on down to some of the green areas of the cactus just to kind of see how that feels. Just wanted to go ahead and put a couple more little highlights in here. Make that a little bit brighter. Okay. Now let's go ahead and try. I know I got a lot of like these little spiky things that are in here. We're not here to just like finish the whole entire painting, but we are wanting to test out some of these greens just to kind of see what it looks like when overlapping with our Holbein pencils. So let me get something that's a little bit more, I don't know, let's see how dark this one is. It's still layering in there. Trying to go in and around some of these little spiky things. Let's go a little bit darker. Light one in here. Layer. And it's nice that you can use another pencil to kind of soften it out if it's a little bit too dark. It's just the way these pencils are, and I'm dropping them. They're just really easy to blend without using like odorless mineral spirits. You can literally blend these without using them because of how soft they are and kind of like this waxy, oily kind of feel. I do believe, I don't know what they try and say these are, more oil, more wax, or whatever, but they definitely feel very soft, kind of waxy feeling. I don't know if it's waxy, just really oily, over oily feeling. Oops. Being a little bit carefree on these. Okay, and then if we want to make it a little bit brighter, make a little highlight. Oops, I'm dropping everything. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Let me sharpen this real quick. And considering this is a darker paper, if I wanted to like make it to where I'm going to go over it with my gray, should be it's close enough to white, as light as it is. Sticking that in there, and then let's stick some of this green again over the top of it, and you'll just see just how light we can make this. That looks pretty cool. And so if we wanted to do some more of that, we could easily take and make a little bit of a, kind of to show that this has a little bit of a raised edge here. Just kind of look like it goes around. Seems like there's a little bit of a thicker area here. I don't know if I did that with my color pencil or not. Yeah, that's what it is. Show a little bit of definition with this. And then let's go on top of it with this brighter green. Very lightly, light-handed. And it's actually coming out really, really nicely. That is so cool. So if we want to make this a little bit brighter, you can always take it and then use that lime yellow, or at least a brighter yellow. Kind of went a little bit off there. Could also put this around, let's just say the little orangey area here. And make a little bit of a texture mark here. I don't think that one does. It does have something. And then if you took and used some of your tans, you can make that a little bit more. Tan, and then the reddish kind of tone. I think it's like a reddish brown, more rusty color. That is really cool. That is so cool. I actually am pretty much happy with this, and I'm actually having a lot of fun. Let's do like some of this darker areas. Like this is a much, much darker green. What's this one? This one? Fir green. Let's use it on this one here. This is going to be more of a darker cactus in this area. All in all, I'm looking at these are actually really doing very nicely. I'm actually having a lot of fun working with these pencils. And I always used to wonder, what am I going to do with these? I mean, you could go for long periods of time, just kind of but if you wanted to go on, we could just highlight a little bit of this around here. And this is working really nicely in and around on top of this Inktense. I knew because of the way they felt, they feel very soft. They're just the type of pencil that could go on top of stuff. Not so much my color pencils. My color pencils, you know, the way I like to layer and then use my odorless mineral spirits, it just doesn't work very well. They just act differently. But if you were to use these, I wonder if this turns out to be lighter green. If you were to use these on their own, then they're fine. And you can use them with the new, they even have the blending. It's not odorless mineral spirits. They came out, Holbein came out with their new color pencil blender in liquid form. I think it's called Melts is what it's called. And if you use that with these, then it works fine. Like it really does. The Melts made by Holbein really do go with the Holbein color pencils. Now, if you were to use it with, let's just say I use odorless mineral spirits and then try and blend it, it feels like they blend differently just because of the makeup of these pencils. But if you use Melts by Holbein and use them with the Holbein pencils, they blend really nicely. So, but if you're using them on top of like this, like the Caran d'Ache, or not the Caran d'Ache, what am I saying that? If you use your Holbein pencils on top of the Derwent Inktense, it seems to be working out really, really well. I'm actually kind of excited to finally be able to put these pencils to use. And if you're asking, like, why don't you use the Derwent Inktense pencils on top for the detail, is because they're really kind of, when you use them, they're really gritty, grainy kind of looking until you actually use water to go ahead and melt them down. But then you're resorting back to more of that painterly kind of look. Or at least it looks like it's kind of like the same kind of thing. But whenever you use like a pencil to get your detail, especially these, it just adds a character to it. It just adds a little bit more to the painting. It looks like there's not any of that gritty, grainy kind of look to it. It kind of speeds things up too, so you don't have to worry too much about taking too much time. I think that's a little bit too dark. Lighten that up just a tad. We could go on top. Just gonna give this a little bit of a highlight. But yeah, it works really nicely. Just gonna put in a couple more layers in. Like I said, I wasn't planning on actually finishing this whole entire drawing out, but I definitely wanted to see what these would feel like if you were to use them, oops, with the Derwent Inktense. And I really do like them. I like the way they feel. They feel like they go together a whole lot better than if you were to use like a color pencil with them. All right, and then I think right now we have, oh, it ain't Whiskey. Whiskey's trying to break in her. That's my puppy dog. So yeah, this is super nice. I wonder if we can kind of make that a little bit lighter. I mean, you probably could even blend these with the melts also if you wanted to, just a little bit, because this Inktense shouldn't bunch. It is a permanent color, so once you lay that down, it should not come back up. I mean, it is definitely on there. I think I got those colors coming in. Might end up having to go a little bit darker. I'm gonna stick this in here just for now. And then we'll go on top of it with this color. That way it just kind of lightens it a little bit. Like that I'm able to do that. You need to lighten it up just a little bit more, then you just go on top of it really lightly. Look how much that lightened it. So you can actually add quite a bit of layers, it looks like, to this. And it definitely shows up. There we go. And you don't have to put it everywhere. I mean, you can leave some of that Derwent or like that Inktense kind of shining through just a little bit here and there. You don't have to do the whole entire thing, but it's just like any areas that you want to emphasize or add a little bit of character to, you could definitely do that using these pencils. And then you can also like I said, just use like a white, or like I just use this warm gray. I think it's like a warm gray 1. Warm gray number 1. And it does the job for adding some highlights or making anything brighter that needs to be a little bit brighter. Like if it's too transparent, then definitely this pencil helps, or having a white, if I find my white wherever it went to. But you can definitely layer on top of these, which is pretty cool. Now it's not really wanting to layer too much on top of my yellow that I had put down so much of. There we go. So if you guys have the Holbein pencils, I know they are a little bit pricey, but if you do have them and you're just like not for sure, if you just use them by themselves, I don't know what you guys do, but here's another option. You can use them with the Derwent Inktense blocks and just do your base layer and then go on top of it with some of the other colors, or definitely the details. These work really, really nice. So I hope this helps you guys if you were interested in like finding out maybe something else to do with your Holbein pencils. Also, one more thing. I just want to let you guys know, if you're like thinking, why are you not having a live stream? Usually you live stream on Tuesdays. Well, I just want to let you guys know, I didn't want to do a repeat of painting the buildings or like watching me do the base coat of the buildings that I was doing on the humongous acrylic painting that we were doing. It was taking forever. So I am still working on that. And if you guys want to see where I'm at, you're probably going to think, well, you're only halfway done. That's only because I have Patreon and some of these other things going on that I've only made it this far. But I will give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek on why it's just taking so long. But here, let's turn, I don't know if I can turn this around. Hold on one second. So here it is. This is what I've gotten done so far. A lot of it took me a little bit longer because we still are not done with the base coat of those buildings, and I had to do some remeasurement. So I had to actually do a lot of remeasuring with my ruler and doing the angles right. And so that way it looks a little bit better to the eye. But I am only halfway done on just putting the first base layer on before we start adding detail to those buildings. So right now it's just the underpainting, and then I'll have to make my way to the other side and get the underpainting done for those buildings before we start adding some details to this large painting. So this is where we're at right now. Once I get that done, we'll go back to live streaming so that way you guys can see some details on this humongous acrylic painting. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Also, if you could leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, click the little share button, or leave a comment. Any of those things definitely helps this channel grow. And until next time, bye you guys.